It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
Hello, my name is Tyrone Lowe. I'm your host. The show is called The Legends, and I want to thank everybody all over the world that actually subscribes to my show and show me love. In the House of the Legends, they are legendary. I read their bio. They are incredible. They're husband and wife. Am I correct?
Yes.
And they also into the gospel genre of music. And in the House of the Legends, I give you Serious Voice and Mr. C Live. Welcome to the Legends.
Thank you so much for having us.
You know, let's, spirits can be so bright, especially when you're inspirational. Mm-hmm. And when I first seen you guys came in with Lakeith in them, I knew you had to be inspirational. You know, so let's talk with you, Serious Voice. Let's talk about your background as far as when did you start really getting into music?
I started very early, at the age of 12.
Wow.
And when I first started, the music was terrible. And I think that's indicative of most artists who start out.
Well,
they're trying to feel their way and trying to create something.
Right.
You know, that sounds like them and looks like them. And but after a few years, I think I kind of found my sound.
Right.
It's very, Brooklyn, very street, very gritty.
Right.
But it's inspirational.
Okay.
You know, it's very welcoming to people who don't believe what I believe.
I see.
Because I want to show them the way and show them some of the light that I have. So, but I've been doing it since I was 12 years old, and that's like well over 15 years. That's a long time.
That's a long time.
Yes.
And the difference is now you know the difference between a middle C and a C flat, right?
Yeah. And if I don't, Mr. C Live reminds me.
Mr. C Live, how did you come up with that name, man?
Well, it's a long story, but in general, my friends would call me Mr. C or C.
Right.
And then over time, when I first started doing like radio and stuff like that, I did embrace the name Mr. C.
Right.
But over time, and even probably within the last 5 years, I would say, the name Mr. C Live made more sense.
Okay.
Because my DJ mix show was Live with Mr. C. So I just said, okay, I'm gonna call myself Mr. C Live.
Okay.
It just makes more sense.
As far as radio, how long have you been involved with that?
At least 15 years.
Okay.
And what she won't tell you is she's the mastermind behind a lot of the radio stuff we've done.
Okay.
As far as like starting stuff off. And she's taught me a great deal. Actually, her and a pastor in New Jersey who does radio at Rutgers at WRSU, I would consider them responsible for me being in radio in the first place. Because when I went to Rutgers one night and we were guests there, I looked around and I'm like, man, I can see myself doing this, and I've been doing it ever since.
Okay. They say behind every man is always a strong woman.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's a good experience when you know that you got somebody that can actually encourage you and inspire you, and still live inspirational.
Absolutely.
Serious Voice. Why inspirational?
I feel like I didn't have a choice. At the age of 12, my home situation, it wasn't very good. It wasn't perfect.
Right.
And I needed an outlet. And so I would listen to a lot of positive stuff, the Queen Latifahs, the MC Lights, all these young ladies who projected, a lot of confidence.
Right.
They kept their clothes on, and they did a lot of positive things. In the home that I lived in, outside of the negativity, they always pushed positivity for young women. So for me, it wasn't a choice. It was, a no-brainer.
Right.
So when I got saved, I automatically said, you know what, God, my music has to be centered, Christ-centered.
Right.
And that's important to me. And even if I don't say a scripture like John 3:16, which everybody knows,
Yes, exactly.
you know, you can feel the spirit behind what I put out. Like the music, you always feel it and you sense it. So I don't have to say John 3:16, but when you hear my music, you get inspired.
You know, you can live John 3:16 too. In a
Right.
sense. I mean, you have to apply it in order for it to be in existence. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Besides being radio, you DJ as well.
Yes.
And when did you start that?
Wow, that's an interesting story. So I was doing radio from like 2009. I started, you know, doing the pre-production stuff under a platform that she started. And then 2012 or so, I started doing more on air things. And 2013, it started just the talk and play. And then in 2017, I felt inspired. It was like the voice of God was speaking to me,
Right.
the word controller.
Okay.
And I'm like, I don't DJ like that.
I hate
Never
it.
have. I loved it.
Right.
You know, from the days of, DJ Red Alert and on. I loved the idea of DJing, like in my mind, but I never did it up to that point. And she said, I'll go and buy you a controller. I said, no, I want to go out and buy my own. So I started with a small Numarx Party Mix controller for $100.
Okay.
And I made my mistakes in the house, and I just said, you know what? I'm just gonna jump right in. I know I'm gonna be pretty bad to start, but I said I'm just gonna give it a go, and I've been doing it ever since.
Well, every DJ I know, man, started off with hiccups. You know, and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I read your bio, and you have inspired me as well as a simulation of my story, too. You know, I play worldly, and I play gospel.
Okay.
But I'm always making sure that my gospel is there because, you know, without God, I couldn't be a vessel in any type
Right.
of genre.
Understood.
So I always feel that whatever I do, I always have to give it back to him, in a sense. Serious voice. Let's talk about the accommodations of the actual benefits of the awards that you've actually encountered in your life. And there's a lot of them.
I've had so many nominations, countless nominations within the Christian hip hop space and independent artist space. I've had nominations. The first award win, I broke down. I cried. Because, you know, there were the early nominations, I felt like, oh, for sure, I've got this one, and then I didn't get it.
Right.
It's kind of like, you know, people being nominated for BET, and they know, they were the talk of the whole year, and then they don't get the award.
Right.
So I remember putting in a lot of time, putting out great music, ministry-heavy music, and not getting the award. And I was a bit upset.
Right.
But I got over it, and I kept creating and kept releasing and kept doing what I was doing. And then finally, when I got the award, I said, wow, you know, and I went online and I encouraged other independent artists. I said, don't give up because it's going to come. The win is going to come if you keep going. But if you stop, you won't see the win.
Right.
So it's amplified me. It's encouraged me to just keep going and to encourage others. That's what the award wins has done for me.
Well, you know, we are supposed to carry out the message of God. I mean, that's what it's supposed to be. And in a sense, even though you're dealing with the genre of music, it's still that way because I interview people that actually been through things in life, and God's gave them a turnaround in life, and that's very inspirational, man. Because we need to be engaged.
Yep.
You know, we need to know that He is real, and if you don't know that He isn't real, you will know that He is real.
At some point.
Oh, yeah.
At some point.
Do you write and produce your own music?
I write all of my music, but I don't produce the beats. Mr. C live right here produces some of my beats, and also Mr. L produces some of my beats. So I have, you know, producers who,
Right.
you know, that's not my area. My area is really writing.
Right, okay.
I sit down and I write. And I know, you know, what beats I can really destroy.
Right.
So I stay in my lane, but I'm very versatile.
That's cool. That's like Ashford and Simpson, man. I must say it, but it's true.
Yeah.
You know, Mr. C, you know, as far as your radio journey, name some of the artists that you've actually dealt with on your scene?
Wow. As far as playing or meeting in person?
Meeting in person, have you've interviewed? Because I know that being a radio personality, you get to really know artists and things of that nature.
One artist that comes to mind, she's actually the first Christian hip hop artist to win a Stellar Award. She goes by the name of Miss Tiffany out of Jacksonville, Mississippi.
Okay.
So she won a Stellar Award as a Christian rapper. And that's one I've interviewed. We've interviewed Israel Horton. I've taken part with this young lady here. We've interviewed Ambassador, who's a legendary Christian hip hop artist, was one of the original members of the Cross Movement.
Okay.
Who to me is the all-time greatest Christian hip hop group. Some people would say gospel gangsters. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's basically it's debatable, but to me, Cross Movement by far the greatest Christian hip hop group of all time. Did
you ever think that from the old school, like let's say Shirley Caesar, various others in that genre, would actually make a transition to go into hip hop as far as gospel?
I never thought I would live to see it. And then you mentioned Shirley Caesar, and she's on the stage rapping at some major event.
Yeah.
And you got like Ty Tribbett, who comes in and he dabbles into it.
Right.
They actually called Kurt Franklin a Christian rapper at one time. Like, no. But they've done that. They've called him a Christian rapper.
Well, tabloids, man. They engross. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But did you ever think that at this point right now that it would open the door for you guys?
Oh,
because
man.
that old school was just a moderation of just soft, spiritual praising and praying. That's what I get out of it. And then it just took it to a whole different level right now.
To tell you, just a quick story. I was at a revival at a church I grew up in.
Okay.
On Long Island, Massapequa Tabernacle, and there was a prophet. He just spoke something into the air that just burned, just a fire just lit in my chest.
Okay.
At the time, this was 1997. I'm giving my age away. He said, if God has to use gangster rap to proclaim the gospel, that's what he would do. He said this in the revival.
Okay.
And just this burning sensation happened in my chest. Mm-hmm. And I sat there in my seat and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to have to get involved in gospel rap, but I must get involved. And I didn't know anything at the time.
Right.
And now years later, and it's a funny thing, my dad introduced me to a friend of his who's from Jamaica, West Indies. Mm-hmm. He's the one that put a CD of Cross Movement, Heaven's Mentality, and Blood Brothers, who were Jamaicans that were living in Boston, and they chatted only over hip-hop beats.
Right.
And that was my introduction to the next level of Christian hip-hop or urban gospel music at the time in about 1998 or so. And, that really started the journey as to what you see now.
How do you feel, both of you guys, to actually get out there and do what you guys do and touch a lot of people and get that good feedback from them? How do you feel about that?
Oh, man, it's amazing. I mean, not everybody likes it. I mean, we've experienced both sides of the fence.
Well,
but I mean,
I figure like this: if one ain't gonna like it, a million will.
A lot of people like it. But we get a lot of good feedback in the community.
Okay.
Whether it be Brooklyn, we did something in Las Vegas. We did a pop-up show years ago in the mall. We rented a skateboard shop, and we just had a mobile something like this, and we were just playing music, performances. So most people actually they have a good feeling about it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Serious Voice, how do you prepare yourself for your stage presence?
I get on the track. I run, I walk, I exercise.
Okay.
A lot of people think there's a lot of prayer. Yes, that's,
okay.
As a music minister, yes, you do need to pray and fast and engage in all of that stuff. But the physical preparation is important too. Controlling your breath, all of that, because a lot of times I'll do shows and sometimes you don't understand the crowd you're about to perform in front of. You might have a younger crowd, they're amped up, they hear the beat, they start going wild, then you start going crazy. But if you're not in shape,
right. What can I say?
It becomes a problem.
You don't want to be.
So, yes, exactly. So, one of the first things I do is I get on the track.
Okay.
I also climb stairs. I go to the local train station. This is one of my secrets. And I run those stairs. I climb those stairs. And trust me, it'll get you into shape quick.
Okay.
But it's just the impact that my music is making, not just with the saved, but also unsaved people. It's amazing, and it makes me feel good.
You join them in.
Yeah.
And that's cool. See, that's how God uses as a vessel. I did a interview with Eddie Levert, and if you know about the OJs, they were very inspirational as far as the message is concerned. The music was delightful, but the message was intensive. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. So, any shout outs to anyone?
Oh man, special shout out to More Beats, our production partners in Brooklyn, New York, L, and all the More Beats crew. Shout out to my parents. Shout out to our church family, Bread of Life World Outreach Center in Wyandanch, New York, and that's it for me right now.
I just want to shout out God. Every opportunity is a blessing. I want to thank you. Also want to thank DJ Seven Spirits and
Most
Favor.
definitely.
The two of them truly bless us. It's good when, as couples, you can fellowship with other couples that are like-minded and spirit-minded. It's very encouraging.
Yeah.
Also want to shout out the More Beats Camp. I want to shout out Mickey G, who's here with me today.
Okay.
And shout out my family and friends and all the supporters out there. Just keep supporting. We've got some great things coming.
We have a lot of upcoming artists coming out, and that's featuring things of that nature. Is there anything you can tell them to really inspire them? Because we go through the hiccups of life and things of that nature, and I'm sure that you guys have. And so tell them about the turnaround as far as that's concerned. As far as inspiring, enlighten them.
The number one thing I want to tell up-and-coming artists is invest in yourself. If you're a Christian artist and that's the path you want to take, invest in studying the Bible, but also spend some money.
Okay.
Because it's not cheap. In order to advance in music, you've got to spend money. You've got to spend money on photo shoots. You've got to spend money traveling. Oftentimes people will say, I want you to perform on my stage, but they're not paying. And then they will say, well, I'm offering you exposure. So, when you're starting out, you have to be wise and choose what you'll invest in, but you definitely need to spend some money. You need to have a budget.
Right.
So I just want to encourage independent artists to do that.
Okay.
Save.
Okay. Mr. C, let's talk about management. I mean, nobody climbs that ladder unless you have some good management. You want to talk about that?
Well, I would say as a management person in a label or, with a collective, you have to be in a position to always be honest with your artists. Basically be willing to be in the trenches with them and actually put them through some things that make them uncomfortable. And then you begin to see, the fruit begin to, blossom, grow, and then you start seeing that success.
So you're saying just bringing them out their comfort zone?
Yeah, sometimes you have to make them. Yeah, you have to make them uncomfortable. If you as a manager are not willing to make your artists uncomfortable, the growth is going to be either slow or it's not going to exist.
Okay. Let's talk about some upcoming events which you guys got going on. Now I know you said you're going to drop an album.
Yes.
So let's talk about that.
So I'm looking to drop an album in honor of my mom, who passed in December, and it's called Tessa's Daughter. And so we'll be dropping that hopefully in late June, early July. No definite date yet. I don't want to give a definite date.
Well, you guys look out for it now.
But outside of that, in a couple of weeks we'll be in New London, Connecticut, performing. Myself and one of the artists that we work with at SPM. We'll be performing out there at a cafe, and they can always, find the information on my social media. But I have a number of shows also coming up. Hopefully we have another big one coming up in Nashville during Stellar weekend. So Stellar Award weekend. So we're working on that right now. The whole camp is working on that. But we've been doing a lot of shows. May has been nonstop.
Right.
And I'm looking at June as being nonstop as well. June, July, August, lots of shows.
Okay. Okay.
On my station, 520 Radio, I'm going to be doing my second annual, what I call the midterm exam. I'm basically having a look at some, it's a top 20 countdown. Okay. It's going to be like a two-part, over like a course of 2 weeks. One show, probably like July, I'm looking at to have that. And then, every December I do what I call the top Mr. C Live's Top 40 Countdown. Okay. So it's like independent artists or majors, or even some gospel superstars that could, basically hit my my list for voting, and then the top 40 they get aired out.
If I just may, what's the reach? What's the reach on your station?
Basically, it's some people across the globe. You know, I've seen South America, I've seen the U.S., I've seen Europe.
Okay.
You know, it's decent. It's a decent reach. It's very hard in internet radio because, you know, you're competing with podcasts, you're competing with terrestrial.
Right.
So, you know, but we do okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to thank you guys, man, for actually being here in my presence, you know, and showing how God has actually blessed you guys.
Amen.
You know, they're going to do a live performance. Now, he's the DJ. He's going to do a live set, and Serious Voice is going to do a live performance with Mickey G. And also, Mickey G has an album that's going to be popping out. And can I get that date again? July 11th. Go out there and support her as well. There you go. And, you know, this has been another T-Lo video production. Get ready for this live performance, and stay tuned for another show.
It's not just mine, his or her house. This is our house.
We got some fun people in the house tonight.
This is our house.
Homecoming. This is for you, Tessa. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's go. You fought the fight. You won the battle. Sometimes you're lost, but that don't even matter. Welcome home. Welcome home.
My good and faithful.
You won. You fought the fight. You won the battle. Sometimes you're lost, but that don't even matter. Welcome home. Welcome home.
My good and faithful.
My mama fought real hard. This wasn't enough. She skipped death mad times. This ain't no luck. I never saw it coming. Tyson uppercut. Righteous for 7 times, but still get up. What? See, everybody get the same 24. Everybody on a journey for that more and more. Everybody want the cars, clothes, and girls. What you do with your life reflects your end game up. You fought the fight, then the fight fought you. He saw your light, made your light come through. You shine through. You was the beacon, they copied you. Now enter through the gate. We got you. Who got you? You fought the fight. You won the battle. Sometimes you're lost, but that don't even matter. Welcome home. Welcome home.
My good and faithful.
You won. You fought the fight. You won the battle. Sometimes you're lost, but that don't even matter. Welcome home.
Welcome home. My good and faithful.
On my mama this year, I'm rhyming different, experiencing death with no fear. Gotta move different, no balls dropping, plans popping. My mind and heart says give it all, so all I'm copping. No excuses, removing nooses, chains that had me bound. He said he'd fight all my battles, no rebuttal now. I only got one plan, I'm planning to win now. I'm hitting the booth with nothing but truth, I win, she wins now. Gone but not forgotten, I'm the one living. She took her last breath, so my breaths are different. Coated with the spirit, living every hour, second old limit. Salute to you, it's a homecoming. Salute to you, it's a homecoming. Yeah, you gave it all, it's your homecoming.
You gave it all. You gave it all.
Salute to you.
You ran your race. You gave it all. You've been running. You gave it all.
It's your homecoming. You fought the fight. You won the battle. Sometimes you're lost, but that don't even matter. Welcome home. Welcome home.
My good and faithful.
You won.
You
fought the fight, you won the battle. Sometimes you're lost, but that don't even matter. Welcome home, welcome home.
My good and faithful, my God, you're in control. You're in control, you're in control.
Oh, yeah. Legends with Tyrone Lowe, Mr. C Live. I'm ready to do it. Let's start with one shot. Come on.
If you had one
You
shot,
gotta respect the sound.
one shot, one shot.
Let this one bless you.
You got one shot to save a soul. One shot to go for gold. You got one shot. You got one shot. Only got one shot. One shot to make a change. One shot to praise his name. You got one shot. You got one shot. Only got one shot. My first shot came with a Glock. I'm registered, just in case I had to pop. I was the boy with them rocks tucked away in my jock. And if you need a nightcap, it came on my sock. Man, with the fish
Come in,
scale,
Mr. C,
need to
punching
know the
you in the face
details.
with that
So you
ministry.
understand how Christ saved my
Stay
soul from
right here.
myself. If you do it on your own, eventually you gon' fail. I had to connect with the head and stop being the tail. Ruah! He has victory over my flesh. Times are hard in his family to protect. My mind thinks of going back, and I look at my arm and see the tracks. I walk with no hip and no bones attached. Don't have the strength for a relapse, so I'ma spread his name. Because of him, I made a change. So my second shot, then tell him what he's done for me. Screaming out Christ as I read these scenes.
I'ma pray about it.
That's
Through
the
the
nerve.
good and the bad, I'ma pray about it. This
Takes prayer sometimes.
past, I'ma pray.
Yeah, yeah.
Through the storm and the pain, I'ma pray about it. And give glory to the King, I'ma pray about it. Through the good and the bad, I'ma pray about it. This too shall pass, I'ma pray about it. Through the storm and the pain, I'ma pray about it. Give praise to the King, give praise. Word to your mother and kin. Lift from the pedestal, it's a battle within. Up against sin, who will win doing judgment? Lord only knows, behold. In between sin and fold is gold, another great story told. Cast iron and mold, the Lord's shield. No weapon can damage the steel on this battlefield for real. So pay attention on his mission. We in a bad condition, for his blessings we need. No permission to ask, only facts from grace. Many standing in place, trying to move at the young.
Yeah, yeah.
For cheap thrills, wearing a mask, an outcast.
About to go back to Brooklyn.
Ask comparing contrast. Another man blessing could be someone's trash. Another broken heart could be someone's last. It's the glass half empty or full, the drink fast. Slow down, I'ma pray about it. Through the good and the bad, I'ma pray about it.
Yeah, yeah.
And one day my war will end. And I will not.
Conquest. Brooklyn, New York. New York City, stand up. Mr. C Live. Punch you in the face of that ministry. Come on.
Freedom writers with speeches vibrant with science, seen as survivors of violence. Elohim dialed and defying those demons, riding with tyrants. Here my passion's underrated. I'm David fighting Goliath. I triumph against all odds with God's favor, bright of His Highness, my guidance, and yes, my comfort rate to contemplate and concentrate on criticizing reasons why Eric Garner would suffocate. Fighting racial tensions, causing Ferguson scenarios that turned their back on justice like the cops did.
His or her house. This is our house.